I just binged. And I was supposed to hang out with my boyfriend at the time. I was supposed to go over to his house that night. And here I was stuffing my face, feeling so bloated, feeling so uncomfortable. And I felt so much shame, so much embarrassment, so much guilt, thinking to myself, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be around my boyfriend. I don't want him to look at me. I don't want him to touch me. At the time, he was also living with his parents and his brother. I didn't want to be around people. I wanted to be by myself in my home, in comfortable clothes, and just locking myself up in a room and being by myself. And I didn't know what to do because I wanted to spend time with my boyfriend. I was so excited to see him. I wanted to spend that Friday night or Saturday night, I can't remember what it was, Friday or Saturday night, I wanted to spend a date night with him. I wanted to feel connected to him. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to make memories. I wanted to spend that time with him. But I felt conflicted because I didn't feel like the real me. And I knew that if I were to go over, I wouldn't be in the best mood. If I were to go over, I wouldn't actually feel like the real me, like the real happy, bubbly Lorna. I'd be in a crappy mood. I'd probably push his arm away when he wanted to hug me and wrap his arm around my stomach. I wouldn't be laughing and bubbly because I was sad. I was annoyed at myself. I was frustrated and I was embarrassed because I was engaging in these behaviors with food that didn't feel like me. I just consumed thousands of calories. It felt like I was going through this out-of-body experience where it wasn't actually me. And I sat with myself and I said, I can either text him saying I can't make it, and text him saying that I can't make it and I can stay at home and isolate myself and just sit here by myself, sitting in the discomfort and feeling bloated, feeling mad at myself, feeling frustrated. Or I can spend time with the man that I love and maybe he'll be able to turn my day around. And even if I'm frustrated at myself, I could make his day because I know he really wants to see me. And I remember I texted him and I said, I can't make it. I'm sorry, I won't be able to hang out today. He thought I was breaking up with him. He literally thought I was breaking up with him because every other time it was Friday night, I'd be over. I would fly to his house, not fly to his house, but I would drive to his house and go there fast because I wanted to see him so badly. And he's like, is everything okay? He was so concerned. He literally thought I was breaking up with him. And I had a moment where I said, everything in me wants to stay home. But he is so excited to see me. He wants to spend time with me. He doesn't care if I feel bloated. He doesn't care if I feel like I'm a million bajillion pounds right now. He doesn't care if I just ate so much. He wants to spend time with me. And so I said, everything is fine. I will make my way over. And this was a little bit deeper into our relationship. And, he knew about my food struggles. And I remember when I got there, I told him, I just ate so much and I'm honestly really uncomfortable right now. And he said, let's go out. Let's go out. Let's go out for a coffee. Let's go out for a tea. And let's just have some fun. It's okay. God bless his soul. If you have a husband who is so supportive, they're gems. And so we went to Tim Hortons, and his mom actually joined us, and we went to a local Tim Hortons. And we were sitting there, and I felt a little bit better over the fact that I chose to show up and not isolate myself and be with my boyfriend at the time and, go out for this tea and coffee. But as I was sitting in the Tim Hortons, I was looking around and I was looking at everybody's faces, and everybody seemed to just be so happy. I would see couples laughing. I would see friend groups just like having the time of their life. And I wanted that. I was always like a bubbly, happy person. But man, oh man, after you've just binged, it's so hard to smack a smile on your face and pretend everything is okay. Because I was not okay. I felt so uncomfortable. I felt so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. I felt like I looked like a whale because of how much I ate. I was so uncomfortable. And even if nobody could see what I looked like, after a binge how uncomfortable you feel. And I was just sitting there, like even just sitting down, I was like, I need to like lay down. I was so uncomfortable. And I had another moment where I was looking around and looking at everyone who was happy. And I said to myself, things need to change. For myself, most importantly, because I don't deserve to eat so much until I'm so uncomfortable, like my poor body, but for my mental health, so that I'm not thinking about food 24/7. For my physical health, so I'm not like consuming so much food and like my poor metabolism and my body is like working so hard to break down all this food. So for me, but also for my boyfriend, the people that I love the most, because binge eating doesn't just impact you. It impacts everyone around you. I know that every time I used to binge, I wouldn't be the happy, bubbly Lorna. And my poor boyfriend at the time had to always deal with me being like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I'm so bloated. Oh, my body. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. And he didn't deserve that. Your partner doesn't deserve that. And you don't deserve to speak to yourself like that. You don't deserve to feel like that every single day. And so as I was looking around, seeing everyone like so happy, I knew things needed to change. And I dedicated a full year plus on working on my relationship with food. I dedicated a full year plus on saying F the rules. I am going to build up trust within myself. I'm going to stop fearing certain foods. I'm going to stop restricting myself. I'm going to make my meals way more satisfying. I'm going to actually start eating what I'm craving and not freaking beat myself up. I'm going to let go of all the rules that I've been told, like don't eat bread, don't eat after 7 o'clock, don't have chocolate, whatever the rules are. I said, F that. Because I've tried that for so many years and it wasn't working. All of those rules are why I was binging. It was why I was out of control. And so I said, things need to change. And when I committed to this full year, I remembered that day that I was sitting in Tim Hortons. And on the challenging days where my urges felt so strong, so impossible to ignore, I remembered sitting in that Tim Hortons parking lot and I said, I have to do this because I never want to feel that way again. And so anytime a challenge came up on my journey, I just overeaten, I switched my mindset to go into not self-beat up, not self-judgment, but reminding myself that this was a process. When I was terrified to allow myself to have chocolate and cookies during the day because that felt so backwards, right? It was like, we're told like, don't have chocolate, right? Like we're literally told don't have chocolate. So it felt so backwards. But in that moment, I said, things need to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so I have to be willing to do things differently. And as scary as it was to allow myself to have chocolate when I was craving it or a cookie if I wanted to, I started becoming less impulsive. Because when you just eat what you're craving, you end up not having these crazy urges. And so even when I was terrified to eat certain foods in front of other people or go to the restaurant and order pasta when my husband was ordering like this healthy salmon dish, I leaned into my badass self and I said, I am fully committed. I am all in. Even when it was scary, even when it was challenging, even if I just had the worst binge of my life, I pulled on faith to say I wasn't meant to live like this. And it's hard. It is so hard when it feels like I'm just going to spend the rest of my life binge eating. I'm going to spend the rest of my life thinking about food. I had those thoughts too. But I had those thoughts, and then I also had thoughts of you're not meant to live like this. And I kept focusing on the life that I wanted to live for myself, the life that I wanted to live for myself, for my family, my future children. And that's why I kept on going. I remembered sitting in that Tim Hortons building, feeling so uncomfortable, and I knew things needed to change. So even when it was uncomfortable in my journey and my urges were strong, I just overate. I had my uncle living with us for 6 months out of the year. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I literally can't binge. There were so many challenges. And I so badly wanted to say maybe I'll just struggle with binge eating for the rest of my life. I said no. I pulled on the badass energy within me and said, you got to do this. You got to be all in, fully committed, not just when it's easy, not just at the beginning, but no matter what. Because life will throw you challenges. You're going to be I'm ready to conquer binge eating. And then somebody like your husband is going to make a comment and he's going to be wow, that's a lot of food that you're eating. You have an opportunity to say, I'm triggered, let me go and eat to soothe myself. Or you can rise with resiliency and say, that hurt, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm on this journey and I'm committed. There will be challenges where your urges are so demanding. And there's going to be a part of you that's F it. Who cares? I'm just going to give in. But you have to make a conscious choice that it's the small actions that you do every single day that either propel you forward towards conquering binge eating or they keep you stuck in the cycle. Because every time you say, F it, I'm just going to give in to my binge urges, your urges become more intense. Every single time you've just overeaten and you're oh, I'm so mad at myself, you shame yourself, you speak negatively to yourself, you feel like crap, and then you go and you eat to make yourself feel better. So it's the small moments on a day-to-day basis that either propel you forward to conquer or they keep you stuck. And so I chose in those small moments to say, all of this matters. How I choose to speak to myself today, it matters. Me not giving into this one urge, it matters. Me going to that social event instead of not eating anything because I don't want to eat in front of other people, me actually allowing myself to eat in front of other people and get more comfortable eating in front of other people, that matters. Me allowing myself to have some chocolate after lunch, that matters because that's going to help me prevent an urge later on. Me going to the restaurant without looking at the menu ahead of time, that matters. And all of these things started to build on each other. And I started becoming less impulsive with food. My urges became less intense. Food thoughts started to dissipate. I felt like I was connecting to my fullness cues. I'd have almond butter in my house and not even want it. I'd have dried mangoes in the house. I'd be at my parents' house because at this time I was living with my family. My mom would bake all these sweets. And some days I would want them, but some days I wouldn't. And I was everything is adding up. So you have to be consistent, whether you see results or not. You have to be consistent even when it's challenging, because it's those small daily decisions that you make on a regular basis that matter, that count. It's like building blocks, right? It's like they all add up on each other. And that's what helps you stop binge eating. It's not like do this one thing and then tomorrow you're going to be binge free. It's the people who stay consistent day after day after day, commit long term to their healing, that actually conquer. It's the people who say, you know what, how I speak to myself today, it actually matters. Not giving into this urge, it matters. It all adds up. So you will have challenges on your journey. If you're expecting this journey to just be like a walk in the park, it's not that. There's going to be challenges, which is why you have to pull on your inner badass to say, I'm going to do this. You have to think about the moment. You know, everybody has a moment in time. Like one of them was when I was sitting in that Tim Hortons parking lot, or I can't say parking lot, in the Tim Hortons. Like everybody is going to have a moment where you're like, this is my breaking point. And for me, like that was one of them where I was sitting there with the people that I love the most, and I was sulky. I was not happy. I was not bubbly. I didn't want my boyfriend to touch me. And I said, like, I don't want to live like that anymore. So everybody's going to have a breaking moment, a breakthrough moment where you're like, I am choosing to change. And when you decide every single day to take action in alignment with the version of yourself who is binge free, the version of yourself, like the badass woman that you want to be, you are going to conquer. You don't let fear get in the way. You don't let challenges stop you. You're all in, fully committed. And every decision that you make, every action that you take, it is going to propel you forward. So I wanted to share this with you because I think a lot of the times when people look at people who are binge free, it's like, oh, it must be easy. No, it wasn't easy. You know, even for my clients, like they go through challenges. One of my clients was at a cottage and she overheard her best friend's son saying about her, it looks like she gained a bunch of weight. That triggered and hurt my client so badly. And my client came on a coaching call and she was very upset. She was so triggered and it hurt her. But she said, I am choosing to let this be a moment where I rise. Even though I'm sad and it hurt me so badly and I just want to cry, I am not going to just eat to soothe myself because I don't deserve that. You know, when your body goes through a challenging time, somebody makes a comment, that's when you got to pour more love into yourself, not punish yourself with food. You didn't do anything wrong to your body. So these are all moments that you can either choose to say, oh, I'm so upset, and you use food for comfort, or you rise above and say, no, I'm going to choose to respect myself. Food is going to temporarily make myself feel better, but it's not going to change the fact that this comment was said to me. I'm going to use this as a moment to rise above and take the path forward towards conquering binge eating. And that's what she did. And that's why she's been binge free. It's been, I think, almost 2 years since we've worked together, and she's still binge free today. Because these moments matter. You might think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm just so triggered. Like, oh, I'm so upset. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to be triggered. But what you do after matters. It all adds up. So you got to show up powerfully for yourself. You have to know that there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that knock you down. There's going to be things that come in your way that make you question if you even want to conquer binge eating, if you even want to stop binge eating. But this is where you have to rise. And remember that moment in time, like for me, sitting in Tim Hortons, you got to have that moment where you're like, I just can't keep going like this. When you stay focused on that, you take action every single day in alignment with the badass woman that you want to be, you will absolutely conquer. This is not about having an easy path, an easy journey. This is about looking at these challenges and rising above them. That is how you're going to conquer. So take this and show up powerfully for yourself every single day. Know that everything that you do matters. Not giving into one urge, it matters. Getting triggered, maybe your husband said something to you, you can either go in the pantry and stuff yourself, or fall more in love with yourself, treat yourself with respect. Maybe, sit with yourself, let yourself feel, let yourself cry. Like all of these things, you can either choose to move forward or stay where you are. And the badasses who choose to move forward and take action in alignment with their badass self are the ones that conquer. You got the power. You can do this. So, thank you guys for being here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I see you. I've gone through this journey. I know how challenging it can be, but having support, having people that are around you that are like, I've been there as well too. Like you're not alone. It makes the biggest difference. And this is why we have our badass community, because trying to figure out how to do this on your own is so exhausting. And it's so much easier to go into self-sabotaging behaviors when you feel like I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, nobody else is doing this. You're not the only one. It feels like you're the only one because you don't have your tribe, you don't have the community that's backing you up. So get yourself plugged into our badass community. Inside of Conquer, we have our badass community. And everybody feels so seen. Everybody feels like, oh, I'm so grateful for this community because I finally don't feel like I'm the outlier. I finally feel like, wow, like I'm not the only person that's going through this. And that's going to make a big shift as well too. So I will be talking more about Conquer, but this is our 6 or 12 month program where I help you conquer binge eating through rewiring your brain, getting rid of your binge urges, getting back in tune with your hunger and fullness cues, having the badass community there by your side to help you feel less alone. There's coaching calls with me on Zoom where you get personalized coaching. And that was the biggest difference for my client. She's like, if I didn't have this coaching call, she's like, and if I didn't actually talk through this, I probably would have binged. But instead, she came onto our coaching call. She shared that this person said that it looked like she gained weight, and we talked through it and she felt so much better. Imagine like actually feeling better after like a triggering comment like that was said to you. Like when you have support, you have community, you have a coach mentoring you, you can go from feeling like you're just going to stuff your face, like I'm so annoyed, I'm so triggered, to, you know what? I'm this badass. I'm going to fall even more in love with myself. I'm going to treat myself with respect. I didn't deserve that comment. You rise above it and you propel yourself forward. So, I love this so much. I love this work. I love supporting you guys. It's my greatest honor. This work lights me up because, again, as somebody who's gone through this, I know how challenging it can be, but there's absolutely a way out. So, I love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. If you want to get support, if you want to be that badass who's like, I am at this moment in time where I'm ready to conquer, I'm ready to put all these days of binge eating behind me, you can send me a message and I can share more details on this program. There's a comment here, 111 days binge free, still hard, but holding the streak. You know what's actually interesting? I don't recommend counting because you said here, like it's hard and I'm holding the streak. What happens if you break the streak? You're probably going to beat yourself up. You're going to feel shame and judgment and guilt. And it's going to feel like, oh, but I went 111 days. What's wrong with me? You're going to beat yourself up. So I actually encourage you to, instead of tracking how many days you're binge free, show up every single day like the badass version of you who's going to conquer. Forget about the timelines. Forget about how many days you've been binge free. That actually adds so much pressure. It feels like you're walking on eggshells. Like I can't mess up. That creates so much pressure. So let that go. You're doing amazing. Just celebrate yourself. And then that is going to propel you. Right? Like if you're celebrating yourself and you're feeling really good, that's automatically going to want to make you not binge. Instead of like, I got to stay on track. It's been 111 days. I can't mess up. that's not fun. You're like living with pressure. Let that go. Celebrate yourself, and that will automatically propel you into having more binge-free days. All right, badasses, I'm heading off. Hopefully you enjoyed this live stream. I can't wait to support so many more of you guys in 2026. Conquer binge eating. I love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye guys.